Good morning, everyone. Just a couple of minutes before noon. We are here at Gulfstream Park with Gulfstream today. Ron Nicoletti along with Brian Nato. And Brian, we had some rain over the last couple of days. We got a good main track today and no turf racing.
Yeah, the fact that we have a good main track is kind of a testament to just how much rain we've had. We'll be off the turf today. Kenny and the crew do such a good job out there, though. So if the rain holds off, and that might be a dicey proposition too, but if it does, I think we'll get to a fast main track eventually.
Oh, I think so too. The weather said just slight chance of showers.
Yeah.
And weekend's supposed to be beautiful, but we'll deal with what we got to deal with today. What an exciting end of the week last week, huh? With that Rainbow Six and everything. It was real fun.
It really was. Congratulations to you and everybody else who hit it out there. Well done on your part on a $129 ticket, I think. Here you see it here, and thank you to everybody out there because they put almost $4 million of fresh money in, Ron, and just another great day to end a great weekend here.
Yes, sorry, Brian. It was just so much fun for everybody that was involved. I mean, it was one of those circumstances where you could be alive for the first 3 or 4, then you just had to get lucky like I did, and then lots of fun. But with that said, we start anew with everything today, and we'll see how it plays out. So we'll see how it's going. Dennis, you trying to get in touch with us? What's going on?
Dennis doesn't like my orange glasses.
Oh, he doesn't like the orange glasses.
I don't know what his problem is there.
Never mind, folks.
The Birdman.
It's the first day of the week, and our cameraman does not like orange glasses. Write that down. First race today's going to be a mile on that good track. And it's a maiden claiming filly 3-year-olds. We're going to scratch the 6 Carolina. And note the jockey on the number 2 is Lorenzo Rojas. It looks like Horacio Caramanos might be off his mounts today. And, Brian, you got your early pick 5 ticket.
Yeah, a couple late changes right before we got on the air, so we'll get them to you. $24 here again off the turf. Unfortunately, a big late scratch in race 2 as well, and Pete and Ron will tell you as we get there, but the 10 is out, so I've got the 3 in there, Wine Gold on top. In race number 3, the order is 58. That is 1 bite on top of Nate the Great, who's going to be a short number. Race number 4, my best bet of the day is Coda Mia, the 6 horse, and in race number 5, again, unfortunately off the turf, I think Marty Drexler had a pretty decent hand on the grass on the Tapeta. Boy, I think he's loaded for bear now. We'll just go 1-2, Marty on both of those horses, Skyro and Classic Motown.
Yeah, that race now was 7.5 will be a mile and 70 yards on the all with it. So Peter, and getting back to this first race, Brian, I started in, I believe you did too, with the number 3, No Other Like You.
So, yeah, Ron, you've got the 3, No Other Like You, and then certainly the 7, Champagne on Ice are going to be the major players, but No Other Like You for Riley Mott is going to run on the main track for the first time since the debut back at Churchill Downs. It wasn't a bad effort at all. If this is a very dicey class drop. We're going from a maiden special weight 2 starts back, 75 MCLs last time, all the way to the bottom, but just maybe at the end of the day, that's where we're supposed to be. Maybe you pick up a win and you move on.
Yeah, like you can't keep your orange glasses up here. I can't keep the red flag because I would be waving it with this drop this afternoon.
Like that,
So, and you mentioned it. What about the number 4, Trompetta, in here for Steve Closeras? If you cruise down to that race in December on the main track, 6.5 furlongs, not that bad.
No, that's what I've got circled, and it looks like you're trying to do exactly what I'm trying to do. I don't want a 3-7 short exacta. Put Trompetta in there. We've got a little bit of speed stretching out today. Gormley, of course, the Santa Anita Derby winner. He could run all day.
There were 2 turns with the number 2, United Forever, the one that's going to be ridden by Renzo Rojas. You just look at this horse's last race at 3/4 of a mile, broke from an outside post, and what was he doing? Closing. Maybe the mile. It's like handicapping 101. Maybe the mile will help him.
Didn't run bad at all behind an easy winner that day and a much, much better post position today.
Flipping the page, going to race number 2, 1 mile on the turf. These are maiden claiming 3-year-olds. So we got some scratches, as you mentioned, off the turf. So a mile, 70 yards. Scratch the 7, 9. As Brian mentioned, the 10 just came in, 11, 13, and 14. That 12 between all those scratches is going to run. But here's the thing. We got Samantha's pick 4 here, so let's show that, and then we'll talk about the race.
There we go, $18. She'll single the 12, who's really front and center now. And the other big deal here, too, we'll get to it, the post position is not as bad as it would be on turf, and you can see her spreading deep in the last 3 legs, $18 for her.
$18, yeah. And you know what? With the scratch, I had the 10 on top, and Brian, I was saying to myself, boy, they're leaving this horse in. I couldn't believe it. I said,
Yeah.
this. I couldn't imagine why. And of course, they scratched it out. So I scratch into. Well, let's go with your 3 first, and that is Wine Gold.
Well, the reason I had picked Wine Gold on the turf is because the 10 and the 12 had such bad post positions. Well, the 10's out, the 12 now, all bets are off because at 1.70 on Tapeta, it's not that bad. But with that being said, Wine Gold will be a much better price. And Wine Gold, he did not run poorly at all on the Tapeta 2 starts ago when he was third in the photo, beating just 3/4 of a length. So he's got some fallback Tapeta form.
Yeah, that's important because if you look at Dream Scheme, there's nothing there. You see these 2 races on the turf at the fairgrounds, albeit it's maiden special weight, and as Brian likes to say, the biggest drop in racing, maiden special weight to maiden claimers. That race at fairgrounds produced a couple of next out winners, but you're guessing.
Well, you might be onto something with just stopping at there's nothing there. This horse has not done anything of late. And, oh, by the way, a couple of those starts were at 2-1 and 3-1. So they expected things from this son of Quality Road, and now all of a sudden you can have him for a quarter. So certainly things have not gone right. The fact they're going to try him on the Tapeta, maybe it wakes him up a little bit. The drop is seismic. I get all that. But at the end of the day, man, this is a horse that just has not done any running of late at all.
The number 6 Milazzo, had that 1 start, 7 furlongs back in December. I always make the joke, my doctor, Vinu Butts, my doctor actually growing up was Dr. Milazzo.
Really?
Corona. So I don't know what that means, but I figured
I don't think it really means anything, to be honest with you. But this we have to give 2 shouts here. Antonio Sano has very quietly had a really good championship meet. This is a special weight dropper, a son of Authentic out of a Verrazano mare. 2 turns right up this horse's alley. In Lasix, too. I could see him waking up today.
Let's go to race number 3, miles 7 yards on the Tapeta. These are claimers 4 and up, which have never won 3 in life. And we got a couple of jockey changes in here. On the 6, it's Christian Marat. And on the number 7, we just got this in, is Sean Bridgman. Once again, Horacio Caramanas looks like he's off his mounts this afternoon. Brian, do we start it with the video here and show what's going on with the horse you have on top? Well, he's not in the video. So.
Yeah, we'll talk One Bite first. And then, One Bite drops from 12.5. It's not a big drop. We talk about this a lot on the Tapeta. These 8 to 10 to 12.5. I don't think there's a lot going on there. But the winner that day was Manhattan Boy, and he was pretty good. And this is a second off a little bit of a layoff, second time in Riley Mott's barn as well. And we're going to get to the favorite in a second that you've got on top, who I don't know. I don't necessarily trust. And One Bite will be a much better price, so we went there. But, certainly round the race goes through your pick.
Yeah, One Bite just on the drop, and it sort of looks like Riley Mott getting ready to clean out the barn a little bit and dropping horses down where they can win.
That's a good point, yeah.
And, as you mentioned, Nate the Great on there. So Nate the Great on the outside. I thought was the one to beat. 7 to 5 in the morning line. You see it right there. It's Safi, cut in half. That's about it.
Yeah.
Stretch out.
Stretching back out, too. I think the route form is a little better. He's clearly the one to beat, but it is an outside draw, and they're kind of trying to get him out of the barn, too. So we'll see at a very, very short price, too.
Let's see what we can work out with this video of Rapscallion, Foxtrot, Harry, and Candy Street. Do we spot something we might use here?
Not necessarily, but what more I want to show is, I know Irad's going to get on Rapscallion, and that in and of itself means they're going to bet him. But to me, the only horse you want out of this race is really Candy Street. Rapscallion, I mean, he can't go by Candy Street here, Ron. He looks like he's going to not only go by, it looks like he might actually win. In the 3, team captain's going to loop them all, but Rapscallion this is like the old H job to me. I thought he hung pretty badly here. And to me, Candy Street now might have gotten back a little bit to that good race a few starts back, and he's got speed too. And I think he's the one you want out of that race if you're trying to get a little off the wall.
Well, do you make anything of a Rapscallion? They're going to put the blinkers on the first time in a long time. Does that help the little bit of chandelier in the stretch?
Well, maybe, but I mean, he's had him on before, and he had a win before. He ran well without him too, so it just maybe looks like to me they're reaching or trying something today.
Well, we already got over 51,000 in the early pick 4 pool. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have my Rainbow 6 tickets. Let's see if we can get it a couple of days in a row.
And they're off. big with new DRF All Access past performances. With one best-in-class product, you now get all 3 past performance formats. Easily switch between views. Access the most trusted information in horse racing with DRF All Access past performances. Go to drf.com and use coupon code 1FREEPP for a free single card today.
Welcome back to Gulfstream today, Ron and Brian. Our 4th race this afternoon is going to be a 5-furlong sprint on the Tapeta Maiden Claimers. Now, this race was written for fillies and mares 3-year-olds and up, but there are no 3-year-olds in a race, so we take that away just to let you know that.
But he brings a good point. Pay attention to that at this time of the year. Early March, very early to be tackling older horses.
And we're going to scratch the number 2, Starship Luxury, one of the horses that had a little further down on my ticket. And I will show you my Rainbow 6 ticket right now. We'll talk about this race in a couple of moments. 5th race, I went 3 deep, and that one's off the turf. My top pick ended up being the 8 Tuts Revenge. I should have put the 1 in there, Brian. I backed off it. 6th race, my top pick is the number 1 horse in there. That's Loud Applause. Race number 7, I went with the 4. That's Santos to Wilson, but I also used the number 5. Freedom Road is going to take all the money in there. Race 8, just 2 for me. Air Force Cruising, we're going to show you a video, and then we also have the 4, Louis the Sun King. And then the last race, just 2 deep. Now, that's off the race, off the turf. I wanted to go deeper, but I wanted to keep my ticket affordable in the first day back, so I just went with Lionza and the number 2, Chanteuse, for Todd Pletcher.
43.20, I like it, and Ronnie's trying to hit it 2 days in a row. As we say time and time again, these are great opportunities to get involved. You come up with a couple prices, and on a day when they're might pour $100,000 into it, it's not out of the realm of possibility. You get to that finale, and you might be looking at the lone ticket.
Yeah, not even a lone ticket. Usually on those days, even if someone hits the, there's a couple of 6 out of 6s. They play well. It's just something over the years you have to watch. Now, getting back to this 4th race, interesting to see how you started in the year. I went with Kodamia. So did you.
Yeah, this is my best bet of the day. It just looks like Kodamia, Ron, is set up to score here. We chased and tired on debut at 23-1. So whenever a Gustavo Delgado horse is going to be 23-1 on debut, there's not a lot going on there. Now the drop, you almost wonder if that was just a tightener for this type of spot, and now the old all systems go angle from a perfect post as well.
Yeah, Louis Sayers in the saddle, and this is one of the days where everybody's taking these gigantic drops from Maiden Special, where they're trying to see what they had and realize this is what they have type of situation in here. I did go with the number 3 in second, Chica Blue, this one for Jose D'Angelo, so I want to show you stat with this first-time starter with Jose D'Angelo. First-time starters, the Peter Sprints the past 5 years, 14%. 44%, 305 is return on investment. You make a great point. He used to be Zippo with first-time starters.
Yeah, so obviously the program has improved. There's no doubt about it. You can't see anything on this horse. They paid $200 in 2022, debuting for $12.5. The works, Ron, the works are just not good. Now, I don't know if they're holding something in there, and maybe she can run a little bit. I can't believe so, debuting at the bottom. I got to see it. It's great to see Irad ride, if nothing else.
What about Always to the End? This just has some speed, at least.
Got some speed, and that's a big deal, and ran pretty darn good sprinting on the Tapeta 2 starts back.
We'll go to race number 5 this afternoon, and 7.5 furlongs on the turf originally, now to be 1 mile and 70 yards on the Tapeta. Its 5th race is for allowance optional claimer for those 4-year-olds and upwards. Scratch the big favorite in there, which was my best bet this afternoon on the turf, and that's Ice Chocolate. I really was interested in seeing that horse run, but it's not going to happen. Samantha not here today, but she left us our pick 5 ticket, and we'll check that out.
Yep, Ice Chocolate, the grade 3 winner, not going to come back today. Hopefully we'll see him shortly back on the turf. You can see Samantha going 2 deep. The single is in race number 7, and that is the 5. That is Freedom Road, going to be a very short number in there. And then she's got some of the logic. She's playing against Leonza in the finale. She's got Chanteuse, who is the morning line favorite, who they've just bet off the board in 2 starts. It'll be interesting to see what she does in the comeback today. $27, Ron.
Very affordable ticket in there, Brian. And I know you mentioned Marty Drexler, so take it away with Marty Drexler. You went with the 1?
Yeah, I went with the 1. I need to mention something. This is obviously a turf morning line, so it's out the window. A Tapeta morning line would have the 2 as a giant favorite in here. Now, Skyro's going to go off the claim for Marty. I like that. Tyler's going to ride here. That's kind of turned into Marty's main man. I know he likes him a lot. We've got Tapeta form to fall back on as well. Marty is 24% off the claim. We'll see if Skyro's got anything left in the tank. I wanted a price in here. I was just a little against Ice Chocolate off the layoff. That's irrelevant now.
And you make a great point. You see some of our selections here, and then you look back, and maybe I was looking one way for the turf, and you see a horse like the 2 that I didn't use that you have to go back and use in there. I did scratch into the number 8 Tut's Revenge. This one from Mike Maker, and this one has really never tried. Well, tried the synthetic once, finished second in that race, but I just thought this horse's form, albeit it was for the turf. Comes out of stakes. He was grade 3. He showed speed in those races. I'm getting Louis Saez. I'm looking for a tutti fanutti on the front end with Tut's Revenge.
Yeah, 9-year-old gelded son of Escandarea is going to come back now off a late September layoff. He was another one I thought maybe could use one today, but you're right. He's got to dig now a little bit. That's a really good Tapeta race.
And that other horse that Samantha used on hers was Roos, and another horse that maybe 3 for 5 in the money on the turf here. Synthetic, not so good. Another thing you got to look around in that race.
Yeah, and Classic Motown, the 2, is coming out of that $100,000 handicap that we run on the big days. He actually had a trip that day, too. Grade 3 stakes place on the Tapeta at Woodbine. They're all looking up at him in here.
Yeah, and you look 80s, 90s, his figures on the, on the Tapeta today. He's going to be like a big favorite in there, and you're getting Joel Rosario. Now we're going to flip the page and go to race number 6. We're going to sprint right now, 6 furlongs on a good main track, and if it stays like this, like Brian said, it will be fast. This is a maiden optional claimer. These are maidens 3-year-olds, and we have the scratches, jockey changes, and we do have Brian's late pick 4 ticket.
We'll take a look at it now. I've got the 2, what I think will be the hot firsters, but also the 1. I'm with Samantha singling the 5 in race 7. That's the Wind Machine. Can't wait to see him back on the main track, and that is Freedom Road. Big spreads in race 8 and race 9. Race 8, it is the 8. That's my long shot today. Take care of business. Race 9, I wanted to move this around, being off the turf and onto the Tapeta. I've got the 4 Parade Ring on top, but I added a few more horses in there. 37.50 for the late 4.
37.50. You got to get that single home in here. Getting back to the 6th race, and loud applause. Is going to turn back today to 3/4 of a mile. Is that where you went? No, you went with the 5. So let's start with getting there.
Well, there's 2 firsters in here that I think at least. You look at the morning line. They're supposed to be bet pretty hard, and getting there is one of them. We've got some AM activity. There's nothing to see on Dracula. It's just kind of a bummer. But getting there worked here, and he broke a little slow here. The outside is Greenfield Colder. He breaks a little slow and got jarred a little bit, but he's quickly into gear here, and he's going to pass I don't know about the stablemate, but he's going to pass this other horse pretty easily, really, by not being asked for all that much. You can see the big, cool-looking white blaze he's got. Right now, you can kind of see him motoring pretty good. This is a good post-on debut. They only paid 15 for a son of Kozan. You can see him really wanting to run here. And Dave Fawkes, Ronnie, how about Dave? 5 for 16, 31% with first-time starters. Tyler's here. I'm assuming they're going to bet this horse today, and I think he could probably run a little bit, and I think this might be a good field to be able to run a little bit with.
Well, I was not leaving him off. I think for all the reasons that you mentioned, that's why I went with him. I did go with loud applause. What I'm going is an angle that all of us use all the time, and that's previous experience. Got a break from the rail, cutting back to 3/4 of a mile. Almost had the lead at that point in the race last time out. It's Louis Saez jumping aboard, so they're getting in there. Now, the 3 Dracula, I really have to bite. You could say he wants to take a bite out of the competition, all that stuff. It's too corny even for me. But, no, not that.
You did kind of say it, though. You just kind of said it without saying it, but said
thought so. You figured that
Is
out,
it in the, Luckily, you didn't have to write the analysis. Hey, they paid $85,000 for a son of a Derby winner authentic. It's a lot of money for a Florida bred. Joe Orsino, we've got Edgard here, Zayas to ride. The works aren't giving anything away, but a couple of them look okay. We couldn't see anything on him. Another horse. It's a tote board race. Ronnie's horse, who I like and you have to use. Ronnie's horse was 59-1 on debut. I mean, he's got the speed to be in front in here, but I think these 2 firsters could be in good spots today.
A little bit of a sneaky that you might want to put on your super ticket is the 7 Miami Frank. Now, this one ran at Tampa, so we don't know what that means, what 32 maiden means there. They're putting blinkers on. shipping this horse across, they're putting this apprentice Cesar Gonzalez on. We got tries. We got supers. If this is a big price, I'd say put him underneath somewhere. I feel that something's going on there.
A homebred for Monica McGoey, who's now, as Ronnie said, shipping across the state, not in for a tag. He was in for a tag at Tampa. Monica clearly likes what she's got here.
Race number 7 this afternoon is a 1-mile event. That's on a good main track. These are starter optional claimers, and they are 4-year-olds and upward. And we have a scratch in here of the number 6 Uranium, and I believe both you and Samantha single the 5 Freedom Road. So we will start right there.
This is a cool dude, Ron. He's 10 for 21 on the main track. He was doing it at Delaware and Parks and Colonial, and you're kind of, look at that, 30 cents, 40 cents, 5 cents to the dollar, and you don't know what you got. And what does he do on Claiming Crown Day? He goes to Churchill, and he loses by a neck. The big leagues for a horse like this, that's like going into a graded stakes race practically for a horse like this. He answered the bell. Hey, he didn't like the Tapeta. He didn't like 9 furlongs. Well, he's back doing his thing today. Irad's here. I think he's in a good spot.
And you can see the trainer is not known very well known down here, Richard Stillman, but he wins at 50%.
Yeah.
He starts a lot of horses. This is not a guy that starts 12 horses or something like that. So he's good. You get an Irad, as you mentioned. Now, I did go with the 4 Santos to Wilson, so let's show that replay, and I'll tell you why I picked him after the replay.
Well, the replay is going to show you one thing, and it's going to show you only that you want Ron's horse. You don't want anybody else, okay? Belton Brooks is out the back. Yorkville's already under the gun here. Santos and Wilson runs a really good second to Avant Glory, who was a buzzsaw this day. You watch this race, you don't want any of the other two. It's Santos or Wilson or no one. He's still on the hard chase. He didn't give it up late. Belton Brooks is going to run a little bit late. This was a good effort, and he proved last time, Ron, that he can play at this level. You're not going to get an Avant Glory in this race all that often.
And, if you look 2 starts back, wins by 7.5 lengths, and then comes back and he runs a decent second. So, to me, that looks like maybe he's going to go back to a top again, you know what I mean?
It's possible.
So we'll see how it goes. The 5 for all the reasons Brian mentioned. Then you got the 7 Belton Brooks that we just show you. Once again, he can certainly grab a share for Nolan Ramsey. This horse ran an okay third. He goes to the mile. He's had 12 starts at a mile with 4 wins.
Yeah,
so
he's a hard knocker.
This is his game.
Yeah, he's a hard knocker, and he'll get a piece. I don't know how big it will be, though.
Race 8, 5.5 furlong, sprint, Tapeta, allowance optional claimer, and these are 4-year-olds and upward. No scratches once again in this race, and we'll start with Brian. Let's start with the 8, take care of business, then we'll show the video of the 6.
This is my long shot today, Ron, and we'll see. I don't know how long he's going to be. He hasn't run since late November. We could need this race. His last two Tapeta races, he runs in a $75,000 handicap, and he runs in the Bob Humphrey. Now, the Bob Humphrey was watered down, admittedly. It was a slow race, admittedly, but there were good horses in there, and he split them. I think there's a lot of speed in here, Ron. I should have mentioned this earlier. We've gotten significant rain in the past 2 days. The Tapeta can tighten up when it rains. It can be very, very speedy. Pay attention, make note of that early in the card, and maybe use it to your advantage later in the card to see how it's playing.
Yeah, and that's good. Nice price on it to start. 8-1, Jonathan Ocasio in the saddle. Number 6, Air Force Cruising, going for 3 in a row. Let's show that video.
There's nothing really to show. It's just a horse that's in really good form right now, that has advanced up the class ladder from a quarter maiden claimer 2 back. This is a 35-2L. I love the aggressiveness that Ken Sweezy put here. He breaks his maiden for a quarter. Could have easily run him back for a cheaper. Nope, he goes to a 35. He blasts them comfortably, and now all of a sudden he's in an optional claimer here in a spot he can't be claimed, and who's better than Kent, Ron? He has had an awesome championship meet, and just here's another flattering stat, too.
Tapeta Sprint over the last 4 years, he's excellent with these Tapeta Sprints. You could see 20%, and he's still got a positive return on investment. So, I'm going to jump on that Air Force Cruising bandwagon one more time. Not that I had him last time, but I'm just saying, he looks like the horse to beat to me. And the 8 is your long shot in there. Brian, I wanted to ask you about the number 4 in here, Louis the Sun King. I think this horse, Kathleen O'Connell, hasn't been seen in a while, but this horse is running well before going to the bench.
Yeah, he's if Louis the Sun King had the recency, he's clearly the horse to beat. Work tab's a little spotty, just 3 works. None of them really are all that snappy. Missed the gap. There's a little gap there as well. We'll see. The one thing I will caution, when Louis the Sun King was doing his thing, that was over the summer. Yeah, we're in the championship meet. Theoretically, these are a little tougher races.
And Miss Tart, from Kevin Rice. Kevin Rice, excellent trainer. He does a really good job here. This horse turning back to this 5.5 furlongs. That was 9 furlongs last time out. What do we get today?
Well, we kind of get maybe what my horse is going to try to do. We're going to settle a little bit and kick on, and it's great to see Irad ride here. He was on the win 2 back when he was with Mike Trombetta. The claim didn't work out, but he's an interesting horse cutting back to 1 turn today.
The last race was originally, that's race number 9, is originally scheduled for the turf now to be run at 5 on the Tapeta. These are maiden, and these are once again fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, and as Brian mentioned, pay attention to that. My long shot, Molly's a Bullet, was scratched out of there for Anthony Margana. Got jockey change on the 7, make the rider Junior Alvarado. Tell me about the 4 in here, Brian, with the surface switch.
Well, I had her on turf, but she's run well on Tapeta. She was a good 3rd last time off the break when her head was kind of turned at the start, so she's supposed to be tighter today for Tony Dutrow. Javier rode her last time. He's going to be aboard her again today. There's a lot of speed down on the inside. Parade Ring's got a recency edge on the 2 favorites as well.
I scratched into the number 1 horse in here, and that's Leonza. Now, hasn't been seen since that dirt race back in July. Now, this is a monster key race, but it comes with a caveat. It was all the way back in July. Produced 3 next out winners from 6 starters, but we're doing a lot of guesswork here with the change of surfaces. I like this horse in the 3rd. Why? Speed. What am I going to get today? I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're going to probably have to pop the field. I mean, Louis' aggressive gate rider, Louis Saez, her speed here, as you mentioned. She comes out of good races, but it's been a long time between drinks for Leonza, and does she need this race today?
And you know the old saying that, when Todd, I'm talking about Todd Pledger, starts a couple of horses on the dirt and doesn't like really the way they ran, he puts them on the turf. This horse is unbelievably bred into mischief, out of the Unbridled Song mare. Irad Ortiz Jr. What do we get?
I know she had a stablemate with her on debut. She was 45 cents to the dollar. She was 5th. Next start, no stablemate. She was 55 cents on the dollar. She was 5th. And she's been clear and controlling in both of those races and has hit a wall. I don't get it. Maybe she wins today. She can do it without me, that's for sure. And as Ronnie said, throw another monkey wrench into the equation with the Tapeta. So, no, not for me.
And, you look at the 6, Lois's Courage, Marcassi, tried the turf, ran very well on the turf at Woodbine a long time ago. But Mark, one of the best going turf to Tapeta. What do we get today with that horse?
Both of the Cassie horses, to me, are move-up candidates today. The 8, Worship especially, now that we're on Tapeta. Both of them have layoffs to deal with. Lois's Courage, a huge one. What's that, a year and a half? Ronnie, Dylan Davis, DJ, Tyler on the other one. The gang's all here. I think you have to use these horses. They were the ones I added in late.
And just a little note for you guys, the jockey change in the 7 May Mischief, that's the only 3-year-old in the field, just so you know that. So,
call.
15-1 on the morning line. That's it for the 9, but we're not done. We got our lightning round, and boy, what a fun weekend it was last week with, one of our favorite weeks with Fountain of Youth closing out on Sunday. So what do we got for the lightning round?
We'll start with the standings, and not a lot going on here because Irad and Safi are kind of sort of down the road. It's going to be fun underneath. Tyler's secured 2nd pretty easily right now, but there's a lot of lifting. We've got 4 Wednesdays left, so that's 20 race days in my mind. And Edgard and Louis, Edgard Zayas, it's so good to see a guy we get to see each and every week up here.
Yeah, so he's riding great. Louis, Embassy Al Jaramillo, he's going to get this. What about the trainer standings?
Yeah, we got Safi, of course, down, head and heels above. But look at the battle for the podium now. Jose D'Angelo, Mark Cassie, and Todd Pletcher. Big weekend for Todd. We'll talk about it in a second. Those 3 are all going to vie for 2nd place and 3rd place, obviously. Victor's not impossible either.
No, we'll see how it goes. And it's always fun to watch. We got the standouts, and then underneath it's a nice battle in there. So next we got, he's back, right?
Well, we talked about this entering Saturday's Grade 2 Gulfstream Park Mile. Mindframe is a horse of the year kind of horse. And all of a sudden, the older handicap division, it usually is, it takes some lumps with a lot of 3-year-olds retiring, unfortunately. Well, this is a beast of a division, and Mindframe has thrown his hat clearly in the ring. A 1-turn mile off a July, maybe August layoff is not his jam. and he did it pretty impressively.
Yeah, he did
Ron.
do it impressively. Brian, I didn't think he would run. I knew, of course, he's the one to be, but I
Right.
didn't think he would run that well. So lots of positives for that horse, as Brian said, mentioned
Yeah.
down the road.
Yeah, Cassie and DJ Stables have Nitrogen, who's already won a turf stakes here at Gulfstream Park. They have Vixen now, too, and she is 2 for 2 here. And this was an impressive win in the Here Comes the Bride on the outside. Had to earn it, though.
No, she ran very well, but she, like you said, she had to work for this one.
Yeah, without a doubt, Hall of Famer John Velasquez aboard. You caught up with him, I believe, and
Yeah.
very, I'll call it more of a workman woman-like win. Not dazzling, nothing like that, but she got the job done, and she's a very, very talented 3-year-old filly.
Yep, and I know one of Brian's favorite days here is Wednesday.
Hot Dog Wednesday, you make a $10 bet, you show them, you go into Silk's Air First Rewards, and they're going to give you a coupon for a free hot dog. It's literally as simple as that, Ron.
Yeah, Weed Wednesdays are the all-time best. I mean, all you do is bet $10 that dog is probably worth $8, whatever they charge for dogs nowadays. Well, take it over with your best bet and long shot. I lost both.
That's right. It's just me. I've got Coda Mia a little early on the card in race 4, and a long shot for you a little later on the card in race 8, and that is Take Care of Business. 88 at 8. Wow.
88 at 8, and now I was going to say Todd Pletcher's going to take care of business.
Todd Pletcher's upstairs
Pete
doing scratches
Aiello
and
is
changes.
going to take care of business. That's what I was trying to say.
He really should be in the Hall of Fame.
Pete will take over, will you please?